Hmm. Have you ever wondered what would it like if you had fairy godparents in real life? Because today I am re-reviewing on Butch Hartman's cartoon called The Fairly Odd Parents from 2001. Hi guys, it's me again, Jonathan's Media Corner, and today I decided I am re-reviewing on The Fairly Odd Parents from 2001. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and with that said, it's time to get started. Cue the intro, please. Hi guys, Jonathan's Media Corner here again, and today I am re-reviewing on The Fairly Odd Parents. Came in the year 2001. So basically what the plot is, you have a 10-year-old boy named Timmy Turner who is neglected by his parents, and he always gets abused by his babysitter Vicky. And one day, he's granted two fairy godparents named Cosmo and Wanda, who grant his every wish to improve his miserable life. But, however, these wishes usually backfires and cause a series of problems that Timmy must fix. In earlier episodes of the series, he tends to revolve around Timmy. It tends to revolve around Timmy trying to navigate his everyday life at home and at school and elsewhere in towns with his friends, Chester and AJ. Every day, and occasionally his parents, while also trying to fix a wish gone awry and ultimately learning a lesson in the end. And then later in the series, Timmy wishes that Cosmo and Wanda would have a baby, and who named him Poof. And that's basically what the plot for the older episodes of The Fairly Odd Parents was, and later is. I'll talk about Sparky and Chloe later on, and why it gone downhill. But first, I want to talk about the positives. So yeah, what do I think about it? Yeah, that's basically what the plot is for this series. But what do I think about this show? With the older episodes and the old seasons, 2 words: fantastic show. Yeah, with the old episodes and old seasons of The Fairly Odd Parents, back when Nickelodeon had everything, The Fairly Odd Parents was just a wonderful cartoon, and this was one of Butch Hartman's finest work that he's ever done. And I really like the characters: Timmy, Cosmo, Wanda, Timmy's mom and dad, AJ, and Chester. They have really interesting and lovable characters. And fun fact, back in the old episodes, in the older days, Frankie Muniz used to voice Chester. Yeah, Frankie Muniz. Fun fact, Frankie Muniz used to voice Chester back then in The Fairly Odd Parents. Until later on, someone else had voiced Chester and replaced Frankie Muniz to voice him. Yeah, well, that's okay. With the older episodes. And the way that Timmy grants every wish, it's just really cool. But then every time when something goes wrong and Timmy has to find a way to fix it, he always learns a valuable lesson at the end and he vows not to do it again. It has a really valuable lesson of what Timmy learns after he makes his mistakes. Like when Timmy wished for no emotion, like he didn't feel anything after he didn't feel embarrassed when Cosmo and Wanda laughed at him. And then later in the end, Cosmo returned his emotions and Timmy got mad and Cosmo's like, "Yay, I'm so emotional." And Wanda, and later in the end, they're proud of Timmy because he got his emotions back and he learns that it's better to have emotions than to not have emotions. Yeah, this show has funny moments as well. Yeah, it does have some funny moments too. Like when Timmy wished to be a dog. Oh my, that's really funny. And that was a funny episode. When how Timmy wished to be a dog and he acted like a dog. Yeah. The voice acting was just wow. It was just phenomenal. And back in the days, Cosmo's voice, he sounded like a real gentleman. He sounded like he was a nice person. And later, and yeah, his voice was funny as well. And he was funny. The animation is just absolutely spectacular. I mean, this is Butch Hartman. Before we had Tough Puppy and Danny Phantom, we had this, The Fairly Oddparents. And I could tell this is Butch Hartman's finest work that he's done. And it also got movies like Channel Chasers, Apple Catastrophe, Schools Out the Musical, and Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. Yeah. And later on, Timmy wished for a baby and they named him Poof. And the episodes with Poof were fun too. I like the ones with Poof too. Yeah. But then, later in the series, that's when the Fairly Oddparents started to go downhill. Much later in the series. Why? Because he got a pet fairy dog named Sparky. And even later in the series, the series got even worse. Because he was informed that due to a shortage of available fairies, he must now share Cosmo and Wanda with his neighbor, Chloe. Chloe Carmichael, who is essentially his polar opposite. And she loves sharing animals and everything that is illogically friendly. That's when the Fairly Oddparents started to go downhill ever since then. Sparky and Chloe. And most of the characters in the later series had been flanderized. Like, they don't act like how they used to in the older days of the Fairly Oddparents. That's terrible of how they changed the characters of the Fairly Oddparents. They flanderized them. And the episodes went from bad to worse in the later series. Like it gone from, with Sparky, it was painful. It was painful because you had to sit with that annoying dog. And Sparky sounds like how the dog sounded like he was severely ill. Yeah, I'm talking about Hal from Nature Cat. Sparky sounds like Hal, like if he was severely ill and could barely speak. And Chloe's was just a pain in the ass. Chloe was the worst character. She was the one that tarnished everything that made the Fairly Oddparents so great. And the Fairly Oddparents wasn't the same. Yes, it's all. I know Chloe's a fictional character, but still, I hate Chloe. She was the most annoying character ever throughout the Fairly Oddparents history. In fact, she is the worst character. She is definitely the worst. And yeah, and even Cosmo's voice sounded annoying in the later series. Like, it's too high pitched and it's so annoying. And oh my god, it makes me want to cringe. Yeah, I'm talking about the one with Sparky and Chloe. That's when the characters got flanderized, the show went downhill, and the characters got even more annoying, and the episodes were just painful to sit through. But the older days was so wonderful and so fantastic. I can't believe they done fucked up the Fairly Oddparents like that in the later series. That's terrible. But the older days of the Fairly Oddparents, they were fantastic. Like, the characters were funny, entertaining, likable, and good, and the villains were also really interesting, and most of the Fairly Oddparents characters were just good people. And the older episodes were just fantastic. The animation was even the animation was just incredible. The animation in the later series was just despicable. And it didn't feel the same ever since then, because Nickelodeon didn't care about anything but money, and they wanted to done fuck up the Fairly Oddparents so bad. But as for the older episodes, everything I could say is a true classic. I'm sorry if I went on of how the Fairly Oddparents went downhill, but the older episodes, you know how much of a classic it is. It's much more of a genuine classic. The older episodes, even Mr. Crocker was funny back then. He did some things that were funny. This is a great show. The older days, I meant.